Hey guys, welcome to Jockey Nutrition podcast number 2. Today we're talking about caffeine with sports dietitian Marion Gaddis, who I used to work with.
Yes.
So Mez, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and what kind of athletes you work with?
Yeah, so I'm a clinical sports dietitian and our company name is Nutrition Solutions Sydney. We work with a wide range of different types of athletes, crossfitters, endurance athletes, triathlons, swimmers, so cater for all companies really.
Yeah, she's very talented dietitian. So today we're going to talk about caffeine and how it can enhance your performance, but it can also it can affect your performance if you don't know your threshold. So do you want to kick us off, Marianne?
Yeah, so we definitely recommend for our athletes caffeine, particularly for increasing alertness. Is really good as a stimulant to make you more aware, and it actually is like a sort of like a pre-workout when we introduce it during the competition phase.
And it reduces your level of perception of energy use.
Yeah, correct. Yes,
so very, very helpful. Now, what kind of caffeine products would you use?
I usually just recommend they may use a supplement that we assess that it's okay for them to have, but we often just use coffee, or you can use things like no dose as a stimulant. But what it's really important is to understand how much to introduce, and also to talk about when to for the athletes to have it as well.
Excellent, yes, because you don't want to be running to the toilet on game day, so to speak, if you've gone over your threshold. So that brings us to, practicing. So when you're having caffeine and you're learning how to caffeine load, you need to practice it, during track work or on practice days, whether you're an individual athlete or a team athlete, to definitely practice your caffeine loading. Now, there is a level of caffeine. Do you want to talk about that?
So your level varies. Everyone varies depending on the type of sport, their weight, how much they need, how long their sport's for. So that's the number one thing we really look into is what type of sport are you doing, what's your weight, and how much caffeine do you need. Now, as Meg said, the most important thing is understanding how much you need or practicing prior to your competition. Like Meg said, you don't want to be running to the toilet while you are literally running.
Yes, or on a horse.
So the main thing is looking into that. Now, the recommendation is 3 to 6 milligrams per kilo. Now, that might be too much or that might be too little. The recommendations, I think, from the Better Health government.
Yeah, so firstly, back to Marion, so 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. So if you're a 50 kilo jockey, you wouldn't want to go over 150 to 300 milligrams on that game day, and again practicing it. Now, the Better Health Victoria channel says that you shouldn't go over 210 milligrams of caffeine per day, otherwise it starts to affect your sleep. Anxiety, you don't want to be anxious whilst you're performing, and depression. So it's really important that you practice and learn your threshold. I know that during game day, athletes are going to go over that threshold. So it's really important though on your days off from racing or the actual competition day that we try and get under that 210 milligrams per day. And you might find it quite surprising that 2 shots of coffee and you've already hit that threshold at 300 milligrams. So it just kind of puts things in perspective of how much caffeine's in what we have. So is there anything else you want to talk about?
So as Meg said, she spoke about sleep, and that is actually caffeine has a big impact on your sleeping patterns. So really we want to make sure that you're getting enough sleep to perform for your immune system, for recovery, and that is crucial. That's the one thing we talk about on your initial consult is how much sleep are you getting. And if you're having too much caffeine throughout the day, well, it can really affect your sleep because it can last in your system for about 5 hours.
Yeah.
So that's another thing we will definitely talk to you about as well.
And then it affects obviously your appetite. Now, if you're a weight class athlete like a jockey, you can't afford that. So what happens is if you don't get adequate sleep, your appetite hormone goes up, your ghrelin, or as I like to call it, gremlin hormone, goes up by 28%, and your appetite suppressing hormone goes down by 18%. So if you're struggling with your weight, really think about, do I need to fix my caffeine levels, which will subsequently improve my sleep? So definitely have a look into that. So in summary, caffeine is a performance enhancement, so definitely use it. Number 2, be careful where your threshold is because it can act as a diuretic, or you can shit yourself. And then 3, it can also affect your sleep and your anxiety levels. So again, threshold. So thank you, Marion, for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, guys.
And we'll speak to you soon in podcast number 3.